What's up everyone, welcome back to our lawn, and today I'm in the process of and in the middle of a lot of projects that are all going to become videos but are not yet ready, completed, etc. for videos to come. So I figured right now is the perfect time to do the May walk around. Now this is something I do for my longtime subscribers and largely kind of for me on an annual basis. Is a May, July, and end of year video to just update myself, everyone, keep track of what we've been able to accomplish here and how you can follow along to some of the things that I'm doing and accomplish certain goals in your yard. And the biggest recent development is that big fella right there. And the longest time subscribers of you will know that this all throughout here was all completely overgrown, buckthorn, all grown up, same as back there, which we've got under control. There is a cedar tree that I cut down in the front to try to get some sunlight, but we're not there yet. This now has been converted from a pool a couple years ago. We ended up last year, didn't use it very much, and this will be much more effective. I have my bed lined out. That's gonna get cut in, and we got wood chips coming on Friday to get that whole space set up. As we take and walk you around the backyard, from a distance, it's looking okay. However, we can go and look and see some problems I had this year that I have never had this early or at that temperature before. And what you're looking at on screen right now and a couple other places throughout my yard that I don't have filmed is the result of gray leaf spot. Now that started to show itself when it was like 50 degrees, which that typically is not the temperature that you're going to be expecting to have disease pressure, but basically for the entire month of April, we got something like 5 or 7 inches of rain and it was wet always. And apparently it was wet enough that it didn't care about how cold it was. And that disease really took hold and did a lot of damage to some parts of my yard. Now, little Eagle 20 and Disease X, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend Disease X, but it's what I had available. Those two modes of actions from two different groups. They are, I believe, group 3 and group 11 fungicides. Does seem to have knocked it back and it's back under control. And beyond that, I am in the backyard not killing weeds. I am in the backyard not dealing with any of my grassy problems because honestly, it's just the play space and it's probably eventually going to get renovated into something someday in the distant future. Bent grass is taking over in some spots which I could control, but I just don't want to. And again, my focus this year is going to be on the putting green. The green is seeded and is watering right now. That is going to be an entire video standalone on its own on how I went about doing that. Right now, we are top dressing the fairway, which that is also going to be its own standalone video. And that's what I'm in the process of doing here right now. Also, that bed, which used to look like this, which you can see from a video from 2019 of my brother-in-law and I cutting down the trees that were in there. Finally, yesterday I got out here with the tiller and got that site graded off well enough that I can then come in, we'll throw some sand on it, seed it, much like we've seeded the green. And then finally, 3 years later, no longer will there be dirt circle in all of my videos. If I would have set initial plans for this area, which last year I had the video with the excavator come through here and dig out stumps and kind of grade this out a little bit, I thought this probably would have been where I started the season, but it's not working out that way. It's easier to manage the green and the little section first. We'll let this kind of do its thing. Then when the time comes, we'll come glyphosate everything, come through with the tiller, much like we did there, which was actually quite easy, which makes me now less scared of this much larger project. And I think we'll be able to come through and get that graded and seeded fairly well without a whole lot of trouble or struggles. Spinning 180. What used to be planned for the second hole and expansion of the practice facility, now I kind of have my sights set on getting rid of this concrete someday, getting that out of the way, and then having what is going to be about, I'm going to say a 40 yard by 20 yard shortcut small sided sport field. So this will be like a Kentucky bluegrass, ryegrass, little soccer field. We'll put little goals on both sides and we can do whatever, bocce ball, bags, croquet, and whatever else you want to do back here. But again, that's probably not a 2022 process. The fairway's doing well. Some of these spots that were bare are starting to fill back in. We got weeds coming up again. All that's fine. We're going to deal with it. Plus, also probably once the fairways are seeded, we'll come in and probably renovate the existing grass. But just for reference, if you see this spot here, that used to look like what all of this looked like. And actually, the Kentucky bluegrass has done a pretty good job of coming in and filling in. It's certainly not thick, but it's really filled in a lot of this dirt and it's starting to look okay. This is really interesting. So right there is the difference between the Kentucky bluegrass, which was renovated and seeded, and down here, which is just the existing grass that I have. The color difference and difference in turf quality is quite impressive. Also, another year into the future, when I told you not to worry about your Kentucky bluegrass that comes in thin, all completely filled in, living the dream. And then what has been and will continue to be my favorite thing that we've done here in our yard is at the fact that we have landscaping that's done. We have things that are flowering. I have annuals in the bed. We have finally, from what the house that we moved into out front to where we've been able to get this house now, is just something I am super proud of, and something for you don't have to get there today, right? Especially if you have a bigger property like I do. This is almost 4 years into the future from when we bought this house. It is going to take you a lot of time to do all this. So just pick away at it. Just do what you can when you can, and you will absolutely get there. And look at this red bud. Oh, I wanted this for so long. Despite all the rain we got in April, it has been 2 full weeks since it has rained. As a result, we have areas checking out, going dormant in there as well. Now, when you start to see it looking like that is absolutely when I would recommend coming out here and watering. However, it's supposed to rain tomorrow, so I'm going to leave it for another day to get a good rain tomorrow. If we don't get rain tomorrow, then I'll start watering. Then into phase 4, which was the first phase that I did with dirt that I brought in from another part of the property. And it is by far the worst problem that I've had with grassy weeds and weeds, not necessarily weeds in general, but the grassy weeds in through here are really, really bad. And so this has been sprayed 1 time already, and we've gotten rid of some of the weeds. Or I shouldn't say we haven't gotten rid of them, but they are dying off. The grass stuff is going to be a bit of a problem. So that's going to be a combination of some other herbicides that target grasses, as well as just pulling some of these. But the video on how we're killing weeds and like the basics of handling weeds in your yard coming up not too long from now. And then what has been and will continue to be my favorite part of the yard is the low cost, low effort section turned real mow experiment. So basically over here, I've done everything wrong when it comes to real mowing. I haven't top dressed or leveled out the surface. I went straight from 3.5 inches down to 0.4. Now it's managed at a 1/2 inch. I don't have grass types really genetically designed to be cut short, and yet it's doing amazing. And again, it's not perfect through here. The shade caused issues with establishment last year, which is why I cut down the top of this cedar just to try to help get some light in here to filter through the pine trees up above me. And again, it's very dry right now again, so hopefully we can get a little bit of rain tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to water over here as well. And then the last little bit to talk about is my shortcut Kentucky bluegrass along the side of the house. That is starting to really come along really good right now. Unfortunately, it does seem with the shorter cut bluegrass that when my dog pees in it, it really kills that spot, but it'll fill in and it'll be fine. And the stuff that is not kind of left alone by her going to the bathroom really is doing pretty well, and it'll all fill in. It was sand leveled as well, so it's still recovering from that. This I have watered a couple times just because it was really starting to look like it was checking out. And so there you go. These are just kind of the videos I do from time to time. I like to have as little checkpoints to show you and to show me the progress that I've made here and that we've made here in our lawn, the types of challenges I'm facing and how I'm going about either dealing with them or not dealing with them, and just kind of give you a general idea of just kind of what I'm working on here and what it's like to be somebody that is taking care of a larger property with a lot of different projects going on. So with that, I thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.